Remember the three limiting factors on selection. As a process, in process, where does it stop? Which is a better way of putting it than saying where does it go. The first is the one that everybody prefers to talk about, and that's the limitation on the selection itself, which is to say when reproductive success for individuals with the particular features is consistent and is high, and we end up seeing that either pretty much everybody in the population now has these features, or we see something along the lines of some other selective effect outweighing this one, so this one has hit a limit, but we're still talking about selection. So the inheritance and the variation are just there as a big bank, and then differing selective pressures tell the story for how this creature ends up. As I say, it's a lovely picture, but it also puts aside the other two variables. The second variable, the range of variation, is also incredibly important and could easily be setting the limit for just what selection can do in this case. It's so obvious it's easy to miss the idea that the creature simply doesn't have, across the range of its individuals, the variation that selection could theoretically take it to, given the environmental and reproductive pressures involved. But as it turns out, nope, too bad, you only vary this much, and that's as far as selection can operate within. But if it is not backed up by consistent genetic variation that's associated with the expressed variation that we actually see on the creatures, then selection can't operate on it at all. At any point, when you're looking at some fancy thing that some creature is doing that's very common across the population, it is quite likely indeed that selection is involved in the commonality. However, there is no way to tell by looking at the creature and analyzing any variable that you can. There's no way to tell which of these three limiting factors was the one that set the precise point at which we see the most consistent phenomenon occurring across this creature and its population. You just can't look at it and say, aha, selection has brought it to this spot. And you can't just look at it and say, aha, I see that it hit its limits of what was genetically possible in this creature when the selection got going. None of those are observationally accessible. The kinds of analyses that can tease that apart are far more sophisticated and comparative and difficult, and it's really historically a shame that typically those other limit-setting variables are simply abandoned or black-boxed in favor of saying, well, obviously, selection did it.